Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh Bashem Abishai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders, salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And as you see on the screen, this is Congresswoman Salakia Representative Karen Bass. I know she's from California, but basically, the lesson today is going to be about the deliverance of Israel and the pain and drama that Jacob is about to go through, and the whole world for that matter. Because what you have to understand, that this is the time of Jacob's trouble. It's in its beginning stages, but this is trouble for everyone. So let us go ahead and read that. It says, actually, let me start here first. Let me start in Malachi. This is Malachi 4, verses 5 and 6. Because this has taken place. And the Israelites are awakened as a result of it. All right, beginning with Abba Bibbins. And in the last day prophecies of Elias coming back and then the truth coming into the world. But this is Malachi and the world of Israel, that is. And the whole world for that matter. All right, because Christianity has been a lie. But this is Malachi 4, verse 5. And it reads, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh, and he shall turn the heart," meaning the mind, "of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." So the Israelites will have awakened to their heritage as prophesied, because the Israelites were cut off from their heritage as prophesied. All right. The Israelites were indeed cut off from their heritage. And now we're coming into the place, just trying to adjust this because this is not my normal setup, so Salakia. So now we're coming back until our heritage, and this makes Esau mad. He is angry and he wants to hurt us as a result of it. All right, this truth is hurting him, and like the brother said, the elder Manata Zakba, now he wants to hurt us. All right, this is Amos 9. Now we'll start at verse 9. And it reads, "For I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." So not the least of the elect is going to go to the wayside. 2/3 is already marked for death. And they're going to die doing this. A lot of them are going to die from the pandemics and the different diseases that they're going to send, which is most of it's going to be from the cure, because they're going to force inject people with this stuff, and a lot of people are going to die from the injections. All right, how could you soon forget what happened down in Guatemala? How they were injected with I think they were injecting them with gonorrhea into their spinal columns or syphilis. If you can they did the Tuskegee experiment, which they used the Israelite woman, which they've been using since they got dominion over Jacob, against Jacob, to lure all those men in, and they tested them with the syphilis and doing doing experiments on them, little to their knowledge. They had no idea that they would be injected with something that was going to kill them. All right. But it says, "All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say that the evil day shall not overtake nor prevent us." Because why? Because they don't believe in the Bible, they don't believe in the word, or they believe in the ridiculousness of Christianity. All right, which Christianity could hold, can't hold its weight. That would be like putting soda pop bottles or putting cans into a wet paper bag. It's gonna fall through the bottom, man. The Christianity doctrine does not hold up to the precepts, to the scriptures, to the prophecies. And in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up the ruins, and I will build it as the days of old. And that's what you will have been seeing with all the camps that have been springing up throughout the world. But they haven't done anything as far as violence against anyone of that nature. All they've been doing is teaching the heritage of Israel and nothing more. And see, the truth of the heritage of Israel is the threat to Esau Edom. That's why he's behaving and doing the things that he's doing, like what the what Representative Karen Bass is fighting against here. All right, and then it says on why he building them up. This is why they're angry, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all that the heathen. All right, and all of the heathen, which are called by my name, which saith Yahweh, do of this. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes shall sow up seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. So their whole system is going down, and us waking up is a part of that. That's why they have to demonize and try and make this move to destroy us. All right, they know and understand this. This is why they have a space force. This is why they're getting ready to fight that fight in heaven. Okay, this is why. And so they have to label us as, this BIE. They try to get away from that term, but it keeps coming around again and trying to loop us into that when this is Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the scattered among the heathen. This has nothing to do with skin color. This has everything to do with heritage, a seed line. All right, I've seen families. All right, where in the same family, same mother, same father, you have 4 or 5 different skin tones. Where some of the children actually look pale like Edomites, and the other children look brown like the sister on the screen. In one family. Hell, I did it at Ephraimite 30-some years ago, and that was the case in her family. She had family members that looked like so-called white people, and she had other ones that were just as dark as this woman. And they were all from the same mother and father, the same bloodline. So this is craziness. Okay? This is verse 14. And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they will build the wasted cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled out of their land, which I have given them, saith Yahweh thy power. All right, so this is what makes E angry. The promises, like when you read in Romans, the 9th chapter, verses 1 through 5. They don't want us to get that. So they have to demonize us, okay? This is Jeremiah 30:7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. All right? For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves upon him. And so they've been serving themselves upon. America got wealthy. Wall Street was built up off the backs of the so-called Negro slaves. They got the land and built it up, stolen land from the Northern Kingdom, from the so-called Hispanics and natives. All right, so and then they've worked us ever since. When you go to their hotels and all their ways of making business, their baseball games, their football games, basketball games, all right, the service that services those things, the majority are both Northern and Southern Kingdom. All right, you service people in the airports, all the things that were deemed essential. Now they're putting themselves in danger by catching this man-made virus. This whole COVID thing, which is an acronym, which you just left me what it means. Something about controlled virus identity 2019. I forget the exact acronym right now, but it was supposed to happen in 2019. That's why it's called COVID-19. All right, a direct result of Event 201 with Bill Gates of hell. He had an event to where, I think it was in October of 2019, a virus got out and ravaged the whole world and they lost control over it. And the way they deal with it, that was a drill, and that drill went live. And the president back then was trying to fight it. You know, that's why they were trying to impeach him, to remove him out of the way, because he was stopping that from happening. He was not for you injecting people and injecting all the citizens of his country. Now he's on board, so they got to him, you know. Or he was along with it all the time. He just fought it for a period of time to have, you know, because he likes that control opposition. He'll make it look like he's defending or doing something when he really isn't. All right. Verse 9. But they shall serve Yahweh their power and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. This is how you know that the Israelites haven't been restored yet. That the people over in the land of Israel are imposters. That's all a fallacy. It's all a fraud. You know. Hold on. Because because when the Israelites go back to Israel, King David has to be among them. All right. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So when the Israelites go home, they're not going to be afraid. They're going to have no problems and no issues, because all the people of the world will be under subjection under them, and that is what Esau doesn't want.
Is for the FBI to set up a meeting between members of the CBC and the people that wrote the document, because nobody can account for this. I mean, in my opinion, just to cut to the chase, I don't believe black identity extremists exists, and I believe that the FBI should retract the document and should send out a document throughout law enforcement saying that black identity extremists do not exist. They gave no information to us as to how they came up with that category. And to me, what they really need to be concerned about is white identity extremists. Mm-hmm. But that seemed to mystify.
Okay. So we're all on the same page here. I can put my professor hat on for a moment.
So let's pause it there. She said, well, right, which Edomites is what they should be worried about, because when you look at all your mass shootings and your different terrorist attacks and things in America, 99% of them, and around the world for that matter, 99% of them are done by so-called white men. Right? That's just a fact that always seems to just get put on the backdrop, and then somehow they throw the face of Jacob in there, or a counter story comes out to distract. It happens every time. All right? Every time something major happens, there's something, you know, they'll put R. Kelly, they'll put Bill Cosby, they'll put up Obama, they'll bring up the OJ thing. There's always something to counteract, because the American media is controlled by Esau Edom, and Esau Edom's face has to be the face of what's pure and what's good, when it's completely the opposite. All right, when it's completely the opposite. This is Psalms 59 and 16. And it reads, but I will sing of thy power, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. So our troubled days are coming, man. But at the end of it, you know, at the end of it is the rainbow, and the rainbow is actually a righteous thing, but it's become a symbol of wickedness here in Babylon, because they've attached it to that alphabet wickedness. All right. But as they come for us, Yahweh Shai is coming for them.
But as far as when we talk about extremism, we're talking about something that's radical in opinion, especially in political matters. Extremism is a constitutionally protected right in this country, and so that's something we have to understand and acknowledge. What really concerns me about this report, having been in law enforcement, having been in fusion centers, is that this report's gone out to almost 18,000 law enforcement agencies, right, some of which have intelligence departments. Are we hearing about BIE concerns from any local law enforcement or other agencies other than the Bureau?
No. I mean, basically, you know, that document cites organizations from many, many years.
Because most of the cities where the Hebrew Israelites go out on the highways and byways and teach, the cops that work those beats at the times that they're out there have gotten familiar with them and familiar with their faces, and they know that they're not the threat. They know that. The cops, only time we would ever have issue with cops down when we were downtown Chicago teaching is when you had new people on the beat that did not know us. But the cops have been working those beats for the longest, for years. All right, the sergeants, the white shirts, they know that, look, these guys come out and they read the Bible. They may get loud, they may cuss you out if you offend them, you know. But they know that we don't go out there and put our hands on people. They know that. And that's not what we do, and that's not what we teach. And everything that we're teaching is already being uploaded to the public. So, as the brother, like I said, my beloved brother Yawana says, we're the most transparent organization that exists in America. Because we're already telling you that we are indeed the true Hebrew Israelites. The people over in Israel are imposters. They quite frankly are. That's not a threat to them physically. It's just the truth. History and the relics and the evidences and the prophecies prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay? They've labeled themselves, the titles that they've labeled themselves, and under their jurisdiction, we've been labeled as they chose to label us. And now the truth is out and they're just angry about it. So what do? What they always do. They drag your name through the dirt. They have to demonize you, make you less than human, and then it justifies their moving upon you.
Years ago, and it cites the 3 or 4 incidences in which African Americans were involved in killing law enforcement officers. And ironically, the only individual that was connected to an organization was the guy that committed the murders in Baton Rouge, and he was connected to Sovereign Nation, which is a whiteout organization.
Wow.
So, you know, the point of the document is that it's saying that black identity extremists are organized to kill law enforcement officers.
Which is a
lie. My concern about it is, especially since it was distributed to law enforcement around the country, is that I consider it a declaration of open season on young black activists.
That's what it is, man.
I like your tattoos.
I have no idea what just happened here.
Oh, that's the date my dad died.
So we'll just stop that. But nevertheless, let's just read this and we'll finish out. This is 2nd Ezra's the 13th chapter. All right? Because, and I'm going to read that because you have this Space Force being put into place. They just talked about their flag, and what they plan to do is fight in heaven. This is that great war in heaven that the Bible talked about. It has not happened yet. It is about to. All right? Why? Because you're going to actually be able to see this fight up in the sky, up in the heavens. Because there's going to be a lot happening. Because E is going to try to make his last stand to hold on to his queendom. All right? And prevent his number one money makers, the Israelites, that are still found in his hands. Remember, the curse is coming for those who stealeth. All right, and does not the Bible say, if a man stealeth a man and he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death? Well, we're all still found here in America and the other places where we're scattered to, forced to comply to rules that we don't acknowledge, forced to and not able to leave. They'll say, well, and just leave, but we can't, because then they got documents and paperwork that they won't give you or that they use to hold you. So who needs deliverance? The Israelites do, and this is how it's going to come. This is 2nd Ezra 13, and I'm gonna start at verse. Let's start at verse 1. I'm gonna read down to about verse 9 or 10, and it reads: And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And behold, and lo, the man waxed strong with thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things tremble that were seen under him. And that's the way people tremble when they look up in the skies and see these so-called UFOs, including the military and different government factions that are acknowledging them now. Not to mention that citizens have been videotaping them and recording them for the last, since they've had cell phones and cameras, basically, and uploading it to the internet. And after this, Salakia, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all that burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. And that perfect example of that is the movie War of the Worlds, both the old one and the new one. Right? When the one with Tom Cruise, when those rays would blast out of his mouth, and it would, it would burn up everything down on the ground. All right? Like that gigantic fleet that was seen flying over Russia just recently. You can't get around it, man. All right, and it looked like it was more than 1,000 chariots in different formations, changing colors and moving across the Russian skies. Verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a great multitude of men of the number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. And the sea is talking about the heavens. Okay, when they come out of the sea, they're actually talking about the heavens, man. And in some cases, they're actually gonna raise up out of the sea. The chariots go and they swim under, they fly and maneuver underwater. Then they fly right up out of the water. Okay, so your Space Force and other militaries are gonna gather together. All right, they're gonna stop fighting each other and all try to join together to fight the Lord. All right. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved him a great mountain and flew upon it. So it's literally going to be like a mountain. Imagine something. Have you ever been to the Rockies and seen them up close? All right. We're talking about something that's bigger than a mountain that's flying. Okay. And the millions that are going to be flying with it. It says, but I would have seen the region of the place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. It was this particular fathership was so big they couldn't see it, man. They couldn't see the end of it. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, but yet durst fight. He's going to put the spirit on them to fight anyway. And they're going to let loose everything that they have. They're going to even be throwing rocks. From their missiles down to throwing a rock. They're going to let loose everything they have. Okay? And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, he saw the violence of the multitude that came. He neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath. And out of his tongue he cast sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, and the blast of fire and a flame of breath and a great tempest fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one that sat upon of a sudden, an innumerable multitude. Nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid, because it's going to destroy everything. Tanks, planes, missiles, men, guns, everything that they have is going to be completely and utterly destroyed. Call Halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Abashai Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash Wa Abba Babal Shalom.